Okay, it is 8:38. We woke up about 15-20 minutes ago, and I'm going to take you through the morning routine in Bali. So first things first, we're going to hop on the bike and fuel up and get some breakfast, man. Let's go. This is the first day that it's not raining in 3 days, so we're off to a good start here, man. Had to ruin the fucking moment, eh?
It's there from here, so this is there, wasn't there. Look at this, be careful. Oh, Jesus.
Make Daddy proud! Okay, just got back to the hotel. It's time to sit down, do some work, look over yesterday's trades, and crank out a YouTube video. So we're gonna make a video. I don't know what we're gonna call it. I'm just filming random shit. Maybe morning routine of a day trader in Bali or something along those lines. But yeah, gonna make a YouTube video, make a trade recap, and then what do we got going on the rest of the day? We got a Muay Thai class at 4. I'm starting to get into Muay Thai. I got to get the cardio up, and I've been getting my ass kicked. And then we potentially are driving down to Canggu for my buddy's birthday. We'll see. Anyway, so that concludes the morning. We're just filming the morning today, and I will get the trade recap going here in a sec. Obviously, you would have had to reduce risk a little bit, but it was a good setup. And we just wrapped everything up. We're done. We made the video. We went over yesterday's price action. We hit the gym. We had a nice breakfast. And it is, what time is it? It's 2 p.m. So we got a couple hours. We are going to chill, do some fun shit. And then we got to be back here for 9:30, 10-ish. For market open, because again, the time difference here is absolutely butt cheeks. So the market opens New York session at 10:30 p.m. my time. But it is what it is, man. What can you do?
Oh, hey there, little feller. we got a trade recap from yesterday, from Wednesday. Let's talk about it. God, so going into Wednesday, we had equal highs. We had equal highs marked up right here. Super, super obvious. So we have a high from Tuesday, Wednesday's high, but not only is it equal highs, it's a data high from Wednesday. So as you can see, and again, usually I'll start with top-down analysis starting on a higher time frame, 1 hour. So I started off on the 1. Notice we had equal highs up here. Dropped down to the 15. And we swept a decent amount of liquidity. So we swept Tuesday's lows. We swept some lows over here. And I think it was like a 300-point drop, a 300-point news candle. So I am not necessarily looking to go short after a 300-point drop. A lot of the times these news candles are manipulation. So big funds can just, get in and fill their orders for a cheaper price, and then they'll simply reverse price. So a lot of times these news events are fake outs, and if a news candle really aggressively drops or very aggressively rises, it's very rare that once the session opens, it'll continue to go that way. For example, like an 8:30 Newswick like this, if the Newswick drops 350, 400 points, it's fairly unlikely that when New York opens, this thing will just continue to shit, unless it's some big, big news. So in my mind, a lot of the time, these news candles are just manipulation, giving these big institutions time to fill their orders for cheaper, and then they will drive price back up. That's just my opinion. If you don't agree with me, whatever. Anyway, so we were looking for longs. We were looking for longs because we have a super obvious target way above, which is the equal highs with the data high. Data highs, untapped data highs are a great, great target. So we were locked in on longs, Spen and I, and we got some great opportunities. So what I do when we get a Newswick like this is I will mark up equilibrium of this price leg, and what equilibrium is the it's the midpoint of this singular leg. So let me just delete this. That's yesterday's low. So I mark up the midpoint, which was about here, and I want to see how price reacts once it hits equilibrium, because a lot of the time once it hits that midpoint, it will give us a little bit of a retracement, and that's exactly what happened yesterday. So I mark up equilibrium, and then I hop onto the higher time frame, and I look for some higher time frame confluences, some higher time frame PD arrays that might be able to hold price or bounce price back up to the upside. And what do we have? We have a big ass 15-minute fair value gap right here. So I have this 15-minute marked up, and I know that if we are bullish, we will hold this 15 minutes. If we are bearish, odds are we will close below it, invert it, and then continue to drop. So I mark this 15-minute up. I want to see if it holds bullish, and if it holds bullish, odds are we will start to trend towards the equal highs and the data highs above. So I have that 15-minute marked up, and then I simply just drop to the lower time frame and then look for my entry model, which is the inverse fair value gap. So as you can see, we have equilibrium of that price leg. So we hit it, we get a very big pullback here into the 15-minute gap. We're even holding a little 1-minute order block, a little cute 1-minute order block right there. And yeah, so I start looking for my entry model, and we get it right here in the form of a inverse fair value gap. And this trade was squeaky clean. It was very clean. We get a big wick here. We sweep it. So we get a little manipulation leg stopping these traders out. So this was a little fake out move to the upside potentially. We come down, we sweep that move, we leave we leave a 1 minute fair value gap, and then we just absolutely bust through that. We bust through that fair value gap, inverting it like it's nobody's business, and we close about 10 or 12 points above it. About 10 points above. And at that point, after I see this fair value gap get disrespected and inversed, I immediately hop in long, because the confluences are, again, higher time frame is pointing bullish. We're holding a 15-minute fair value gap on the higher time frame, and we just inversed a fair value gap on the 1 minute, indicating that price could start to reverse now. And that's what happens. So I put a hard stop below that order block, and I believe I took profits somewhere up here. I'm not too sure, but there's a little story behind this trade. For whatever reason, Indonesia blocks a lot of websites, and Tradeovate was blocked on my MacBook, so I had to download the Tradeovate app. And I took the trade on the app thinking that I was entering with 6 minis or 6 micros, but I accidentally only went in. Oh my gosh, my order got filled as 1 micro instead of 6. So I made $110 on this trade, but it should have been 6 times that. So this realistically should have been a $660 win. But for whatever reason, it only filled me with 1 micro, even though I had set anyway, doesn't matter. I guess the app is just super fussy. The app's a bit of a piece of shit. And I only took this trade with 1 micro, and it sucks because this was one of the biggest trades I've had in a minute, and it would have been a nice win. I mean, whatever. I guess it is what it is. A win is still a win, and I'll make sure not to make that mistake again if I'm using the mobile app. But yeah, it really fucked me. It is what it is, though. Still made $110 with 1 micro, which is pretty impressive, I guess. And then the second trade I took was a continuation play. I was still expecting price to take these highs at some point. I was still bullish. So what I did was I marked up this 15-minute gap here. And again, you got to look at these higher time frame PDRAs because price is very easy to read on the higher time frame. All you got to do is drop down to the lower time frame and look for your entry models. So I had this 15-minute marked up here, and if price is going to continue to be bullish, it's going to hold this. It's going to hold this. So I marked it up, hopped onto the 1, and what is going on? Okay, here we go. Yeah. Jumped onto the 1. So we get the retest of the 15-minute gap right here. And not only do we hit the 15-minute, but we also sweep this low right there. And we barely displace under it. This to me looks like a manipulation leg. We just dip below that low, stop these traders out. We're holding a bullish 15-minute fair value gap. And we have we have a fair value gap here that's been acting as resistance. And then we finally close above it. So that was my indication to go long there. And again, this wasn't the cleanest trade. It was clean in the sense that it aligned very well with the higher time frame. We also had a nice liquidity sweep, but this gap could have been a bit cleaner. But I took it anyway just because, honestly, it's not a bad trade. It's really not a bad trade. And I felt like I kind of got robbed on that first play. So I took everything off the table right about here. So almost a 1-2, and that was about 15 points. So I made about $160 on that trade because I traded with 6 micros. So it was about a $260 day, a bit of a smaller day, should have been a bit bigger because of that one mistake on the first trade, but it is what it is, water under the bridge, and that is Wednesday summed up. And one more thing, as you can see, we eventually took a while. Honestly, it took a long time, but we eventually run and take those data highs and equal highs. So great liquidity pool eventually got hit. And yeah, super clean day. Hopefully tonight we get some similar price action. We shall see.